What's up guys, welcome to another fingerpicking lesson. Marco here. Let's talk about transforming chords. Now, one of the awesome things about playing guitar as well as playing any other instrument is the fact that we can always start from, let's call it this basic level, and then we can add more and more musical elements to what we play. And in this example, I was playing a very simple chord progression in D major, then I added some sus2 and sus4 chords as well as add9 chords, and then a little bit of strumming, just like really cool. One thing about transforming chords and just keep adding elements is the fact that you never want to add all the things that you know all the time. And you never want to make it too difficult, right? I mean, you could, but not every time. And so it's much more about what the music needs rather than throwing there everything that you know. And so in this example, we're really going to try to embellish the chord progression without necessarily have to make it super difficult or to add more and more things every time, right? Simple but beautiful. So we're gonna take it step by step. Check my Patreon page, support this channel, and download this tab as well as all the YouTube tabs. And also subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with all the upcoming lessons. Now guys, we're gonna get started. Let's have a close up. Super excited. Enjoy this lesson. Now guys, the very first step is that you wanna obviously come up with a chord progression, and you wanna keep it as simple as possible at the beginning. We are in a key of a D major. I'm playing a D major chord, an F sharp minor chord, a G major chord, and then back to the D and A major, right? Now the F sharp minor, I'm gonna play a tiny chord, which is this one, a beautiful sounding chord, and then the G is gonna be the same, the D and the A is gonna be the same. Now the first chord is D major, and I'm playing 2, 3 and 2, just a very basic chord, and I want it to sound like a piano part, okay? So I will start with a very basic arpeggio. Now this arpeggio is in 3, meaning we're playing triplets. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I have the ring finger on the E, the middle finger on the B, and the index finger on the G. And I'm gonna start with the thumb on the bass note, the D string open, and the E string, then the B, and then the G. Okay? So it's 1, 2, 3. And then I repeat the same pattern without the thumb 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second chord is F sharp minor, okay? But I don't want it to be like here. I want it to be a tiny little chord. So I'm playing this F sharp minor like this. The D string fret number 4, which is the root note. The G string fret number 6, which is the 5th. The B string fret number 7, which is another root note, and the E string fret number 5, which is the minor 3rd. It's just a basic triad, a basic chord. Fingerpicking pattern is the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I move on to the next chord, which is the G major, and this is a very basic chord. The low E fret number 3, which is the root note, and the top E fret number 3. I'm only plucking, G, B, and D strings, so my 3 strings are going to be always the same. This time the bass note is on the low E, so I'm going to do the same picking pattern but with the thumb on the low E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Then I'm going to go back to the D major and I'm going to play the arpeggio 2 times. The first time with the thumb, second time just the top 3 strings. And then A major, which is basically just the G and the B string fret number 2, and the bass note is on the A string open. Same finger picking pattern with thumb and ring, and then just the top 3 strings. Alright? So the whole thing, the very basic level, is this one. Now we're going to move on to the next level, which is a little bit more interesting. Now the next step is to play extended chords. So I'm going to add additional notes on top of the basic chord that I'm playing. It's going to sound like this. Okay? Now the first chord is D, and on the D major I'm gonna play a D major, a D sus2, and a D sus4 before I go back to the D major, right? So it's kind of 4 chords, and a sus2 and a sus4 is a suspended chord. And in order to achieve a suspended chord, we have to get rid of the third, okay? So we have to basically lower the third of the chord, which in the case of the D major is the note F sharp, the E string fret number 2. We're gonna have to lower this major third down to a second. So if I play a D major with the note E, I'm playing a D sus2, and then I'm gonna play a D sus4, which is going to be the third raised 1 fret up, which is gonna go to the note G, which is the 4th, okay? And this is a D sus4. So I have D major, sus2 with the open E, sus4 with the 3rd fret on the E string, and back to the D major. The finger picking pattern is the same: D major, sus2, sus4, D major, right? Now the second chord is really interesting. It's an F sharp minor, sus2, minor, sus2. Sounds really interesting. We're playing a note that is not part of the D major, it's the G sharp, okay? Now put down the basic chord we already learned, 4, 6, 7, 5. And the minor third for this chord is right here on the E string fret number 5. So we're gonna have to lower this one down to fret number 4 to play a sus2. And in order to do that, I have to put down a bar chord on the fret number 4 and then the chord. The first arpeggio is on the F sharp minor. Then I'm gonna get rid of the E string fret number 5 and play the fret number 4, which is played with the bar. An F sharp sus2. Back to the fret 5, back to the fret 4. Right, so I have this on and off on the fret 5 and 6. Alright, and this G sharp kind of, quickly put us in a different key rather than D major, kind of an A major key, okay? Now we have the next chord, G major. Beautiful chord. We're gonna start with the basic one here. We already learned it. And then the E string fret number 2, an F sharp. And the F sharp is the major 7th, okay? So G major 7, and then the E string open, which is a G6, okay? Because this is the 6th note. Okay, starting on the note G, the note E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see? E. So G major 7, G6, and the B string fret number 3 just to finish the chord, okay? Back to the D major. Okay, and I'll play this short melody here. D major, 1 pattern, and then the E string fret number 2, 3, and 2, and then A major. Okay, just G and B string fret number 2, and you just play A string and E string, B string and G string, and the E string again. That's it. So the whole thing. Now there's also a B section which I'm gonna show you right now. We're gonna strum the chords and play different voicings. Now guys, the B section is going to be really interesting as we're going to strum the chords, but we're gonna keep changing the voicing, right? Now the first chord is E minor. And then B minor and D, E minor, F sharp major, and back to the B minor, okay? Now the first chord is E minor. We're gonna have 3 different voicing. E minor, okay, which is just A and D string fret 2. Then on the E string, I'm gonna add the fret number 2, the F sharp, which will make this chord then E minor add 9. And then the E string fret number 3, which is just the note G, the minor third of the E minor chord, so it doesn't really change the chord, still an E minor chord, and back to the fret number 2, okay? So E minor add 9, E minor add 9. The strumming pattern is very simple. You have strum, bass, strum, bass, strum, bass, strum. And you want to change voicing every time you strum. Now the next chord is B minor. We're gonna have strum, bass, strum. And you can put down the A string fret number 2, the D, and the G string fret number 4, and the B string fret number 3. And just strum on 5, 4, 3, and 2. If you're okay playing the bar chord, just bar the E string, the top E fret number 2, and you have a B minor chord. Okay? And you want to strum down, bass, down. That's it. We're not going to change the voicing on the B minor. And then D major. And I'm going to play a D major chord, strum, bass, okay, which I'm only going to play the D string. And then a D sus4 and an upstroke back to the D major. Okay, so alright, that's it. So E minor, B, back to the E minor, add 9, E minor, add 9, and the last chord F sharp major. Beautiful sounding chord. This is a full bar, guys, okay? So bar chord on the fret number 2, and A and D string fret number 4, and then the G string fret number 3, and then B and E string played with the bar chord. Now you want to strum the whole thing one time, then the bass note only, and then you want to lift the bar and play the B string open, okay, which is the sus4, so, and then the G string fret number 3, which is already there. So all you gotta do is just strum the chord, play the bass note, lift the bar, but you want to keep the bass note here, so just don't get rid of the whole thing. Strum, you lift the top, play the bass, lift the top, B string open, and G string fret 3. And you finish with a B minor chord. Okay? Enjoy this lesson. I'll see you on the next video.